I'm going to go ahead and shoot a video today, probably takes today and tomorrow, of making custom crucible tongs. I did a video making the wire pinch tongs for melting dishes. I just haven't posted it yet. But I hand forge tongs like these. And a new line of crucible I'm going to be selling. I'm trying to get them out of China right now. They're pretty large graphite, clay graphite crucible. And then also a little gadget here. And I'll zoom down a little bit and show you how this works. But the crucibles are heavy. And so, if you have this crucible full of gold, and you go to pour it, it's just a little bit heavy. And the crucible's hot, probably just came out of a melting furnace. You don't want to get your hands down there. So this little gadget is just a steady rest. You get your crucible, you just hook that under there, and then you just go right over your mold, and you pour it like so. Some tongs have an extra piece built off of them, but it just makes them too big, too heavy. So I'm going to, at this point, get the saw set up and get the metal ready. No sense wasting time doing that, so I'll be back. Alright, I've got my saw set up. This is 2 pieces of 3/16 by 3/4 flat bar, and the start out length is going to be 16 inches, and then there's a series of bends. So I make a mark at 16. It's really pretty boring. Just set the saw for where it's going to be, make sure the flat bar is level, and make sparks. That's one pair of tongs. Okay, I've got all the pieces cut to make 4 sets of tongs. And right now the disadvantage to the hot saw is the edges are really sharp and ragged, easy to cut yourself. So just to protect myself while I'm working, I'm gonna just hit them a quick touch on the grinder. So I'll swing over there. We'll get ready to smooth these up a little bit. I have to handle them quite a bit during this process, so I'm going to go ahead and grind a few up. It isn't necessary to get too carried away with it, just enough to protect myself. I'm getting my gloves on right now. I'll just do a couple. No sense burning up too much time. Doesn't take a lot, just enough to get the burrs off. Just do both sides of the corners. The advantage of the hot saw gives you a nice square cut. Okay, I got my little table area set up here. Take a peek at what I'm going to do. I've laid out this piece of plywood. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit if I can. I marked the Zero end is 0, and then I've made a mark at 4 inches, 5 inches, and 8 inches, and then there's the end at 16. That's the length of the stock that I start out with. Now, I take my piece of steel that I have here. Ends are nicely ground up. Then I'm going to take a welding soapstone and I'm going to make a mark at 4 inches, 5 inches, 8 inches. 4 inches is going to become the forged part of the tong. 5 inches is where I heat and do the 90-degree twist. Not a dance. Even though I'm old enough, I know what the twist is. 4 inches, 5 inches, 8 inches is where we drill for the hinge bolt. Okay, the next thing I need to do is take 4 of the bars, set up my square. I'm going to make a little more exacting lines on here. Okay, this is going to be the center pinhole. So now I need to set my square. They're 3/4 of an inch wide, so I'm going to set my square at 3/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to mark each one of these bars right in the center. The reason I only do 4 is I'm going to set one of these bars on top of one I don't mark, and then get them ready center punch. Okay, so I've got the center point of my hinge pins. I'll move this over and get ready to center punch them. Okay, I'm going to take the bar and set it on the, and then take a small center punch and just make a small strike. Okay, I've got my drill set up. I've got my table set up to where I'm going to drill down between my vise. The trick is don't drill your vise. So I've got a small drill. I'm going to drill a pilot hole. Okay, I not only put drill bit in, I slowed the spindle RPM down on this. I was turning it at 2300 because that's what I turned my end mill at, making carbon graphite mold. So I've got it slowed down. We're going to go ahead and put the finish hole in this. This hole is going to become the pilot hole when I clamp the other pieces. So now I have my 4 main pieces ready, and I'll get one set up and do the other one, and then we'll move on to the next steps in making these. So I'll get another bar. Another bar, get a C-clamp. This here, this here. Don't tighten it too tight. I never do hit it right the first time. I actually did get this one pretty good. Nice and even on the ends, nice and even on the sides, and now we just use this hole as our pilot hole for the next one. Clamp stuff in there. There we go. Now we have both pieces drilled, and all I have to do is put a bolt and washers in that and bolt them together in the center, clamp the outside end, and then I'm ready to put them in the vise and heat them and give them their 90-degree twist. So I'll finish up these other ones and then we'll do the next step. The last step that I do in the drilling, and it's just taking something from I'm doing in my garage to something that when I sell, this is going to look like it was professionally made. I'm going to take a tool here. It's a deburring tool. And what it's going to do is where the drill goes through the metal, it will leave a burr, and even though it's going to be covered with a bolt and a washer, it's just not finished work. So you take the piece of metal and you just give it a touch. You see there's quite a burr on there. And what you end up with is a nice hole with a chamfered edge. It's clean, no sharp edges. I'll go ahead and do the other ones, then get ready for the twist. Okay, I've got all of the pieces are chamfered, ready to go. Gotta have the coffee. Okay. Not worried about size. I'm going to take 1/4 bolt, put it through the hole, and I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down. Wouldn't have to do this right now, but I can't get a clamp out on the end, and 2 pieces of 3/16 is going to be, not hard to twist, but you've got to have your workpiece set so close to the edge of the vise that you don't have a lot of flexibility. Okay, I gotta get my hammer here. Line it up. Okay, I'll do that to the other pieces. Then I'm going to take C-clamp on the back end. Okay, that one's ready to set up. So I'll get repositioned and get the vise and the torch and the big twisting wrench out, and we'll do the next step.